Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
Welcome, everyone. New episode of Two Psychics podcast. This is Michael Edley, psychic medium or evidential medium and mystic, like our intro says. And there is my fabulous co-host, Mary Amy.
Hi, everyone. How is everyone tonight? Sorry, we're running a little late tonight. All right, everyone. It's Two Psychics podcast, episode 79. I'm coming live from New York where the snow is coming.
Yes.
And tonight is all about paranormal. We have guests tonight, a crew, a paranormal team, Cross The Line Paranormal. Hopefully we get everybody in here and there's no issues, and I'm really excited. I'm Mary Amy. I'm an intuitive wisdom coach. I'm all about receiving impressions, past, present, future. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm clairaudient. I'm clairempathic, clairsestinent, which means that I receive impressions in the form of images, messages, signs, symbols. I might receive a spirit animal or an angelic being. Michael is the medium here. I am the intuitive coach. And
together we bring you two psychics.
Yes. And so I today met with the Manor Club, and Michael's down on the Jersey Shore, and he was video chatting with us, and we are creating an event April 2nd live. And it's going to be in a theater, 300 seats, so everyone can come.
Get your tickets soon before they sell out, right? As soon as they become available, we will put the links on all of our social media, and you can get your ticket and see us live. It's going to be good.
A psychic mediumship event. I'm going to be doing a visualization, meditation. Michael is going to do messages from the afterlife, which is your loved ones, spirits, a whole mediumship, exploring mediumship. We're going to talk about abilities. I'm going to do readings as well. We're going to have a Q&A. It's a 3-hour event, so I hope everyone makes it to our event at the Manor Club. Oh,
yes,
look,
let's get that. April 2nd, Thursday, April 2nd, 6:30 at the Manor Club. And we will be posting all the information about that pretty soon, probably within the next week. We'll have all that information available, so that way you can start getting your tickets and you can come hang out with us. You know, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. And the interesting thing is the Manor Club. For those that aren't familiar with the Manor Club, it's a very old building, and there's a lot of interesting energy. You know, we already did an event, a smaller event there. It was a nice, good event. It's not going to be as large as this one is, but walking through there and walking through the old theater, there's some very interesting energy there. So I'm very excited to bring what we do live to that environment, and I think it's going to be a great night.
It really is. So we've decided that we're going to have a little intermission so that everyone can gather themselves. Anastasia says hello. Suzanne says I will be there. Yay. Everyone who's out there, please comment, like our Two Psychics Facebook page, and you can see a replay of this on our YouTube channel, Rumble, Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify. And if you'd like a psychic reading or a mediumship reading, you can reach out to us. And this is a chance for us to all come together and meet some of the audience and show people that we know what we do. Friends that have never gone to any of my events are able to make it. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll have some refreshments, and it's going to be awesome on a stage.
It is going to be a night of extremely awesome entertainment based around what we do here on the show. So I'm looking forward to it. And people that haven't experienced live mediumship or live psychic intuitive energy and how we connect and that whole process. We're going to be taking everybody through that whole process into a full out gallery where I'll be doing the gallery, bringing messages through from your loved ones. You know, Mary will be bringing through a lot of psychic information of past, present, future possibilities, reading the energy of, I would say, your whole auric field. It's going to be cool. We get to show everyone what we do firsthand. And one thing I want to talk about before we get into our guests, Cross the Line Paranormal, which we're excited to have David, James, and Brandon on tonight. But before we get into that, if you are snowed in this blizzard that they're calling for this weekend, remember, you can look up all past Two Psychics podcast episodes on any of the platforms. So if you missed an episode and you're snowed in, it's a perfect opportunity for you to jump on and check out some of the fantastic guests that we've had on in the past, some of the topics, and you can kind of get a little bit of a little pre-show before you see us live at the Manor Club.
Yeah. You know, I would like to share with everyone some things that have been happening to me. And because I'm empathic and I receive messages, and I sometimes forget this myself. I forget it because I'm used to it, and I don't really review my abilities on a daily basis. So sometimes and I'm not going to the negative. Oh, hey, Kevin Haggerty. But I have to tell you, so this has happened to me off and on for years, where I will be around a group of people or an individual, and they haven't really become spiritual yet, and they are dwelling in negative thoughts and actions and the way they speak. And if you're around someone like that and you forget to protect yourself, you will start to receive some of that, and it'll wear you out. It'll make you sick. And I realized that I was experiencing this because it was like I started to be negative myself and be worried about things that I'm normally not worried about. And I think the fact that my book that I've been working on has had some of my past experiences that were trauma related. I was just like in it all the time. And I have to tell you, there's ways to get out of it. There's ways to kind of snap yourself out of it. And how do you do that? Well, what I just did, I controlled my thoughts. I said to myself, no, I'm not going into the past. I'm not staying there. If I'm around someone negative, I'm going to visualize something positive that I'm going to do, or I'm going to just shut that down. And how do you do that? You imagine light around you. You say to yourself, I'm putting this over there. I'm not holding on to it anymore. I'm letting it go. And this is how you move forward.
You might have to do that going into the supermarkets today, tonight.
Oh, really?
Tomorrow, right? With the blizzard. People crazed for their
really?
eggs.
Really?
Oh, here on the Jersey Shore, it was a mad, and I didn't go into any supermarket today, but I saw posts on some of my social media. I saw some friends commenting on certain situations that they encountered in the grocery stores.
Oh my God.
People get crazed here. You don't experience that in the
honestly,
New York area?
Well, no, I think it's funny that you're saying that, because I had so many people say to me, oh my gosh, the snowstorm. Oh my gosh. And I said to myself, well, how long is it going to last? I'm just going to do a supermarket run tomorrow or Saturday. And I'm like, you don't have to buy the store out. What's the worst? We're not in the Arctic. How bad could it be? But yeah, I'm sure there are people out there that are in a panic mode. I guess it's something for them to focus on.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that this blizzard was coming until like a day ago. I mean, and I guess that's part of it. I don't focus on what the media and the news is sensationalizing and hyping. And obviously you want to be prepared. And obviously I think the biggest concern would be if we lose power.
Mm.
I mean, I'm fortunate I have a generator, and I've kind of, going through Superstorm Sandy, 12 years ago here on the Jersey Shore, it was like a battlefield. And that prepared me to, what's the Boy Scout motto? Be prepared. Well, from that point on, and owning businesses and having retail stores and dealing with lots of animals, lots of livestock, I had to be prepared for the most part. And not just for myself, but for all the lives that depended on me. And those that don't know, I was involved in the pet industry for a long time. I had, holistic natural pet stores, partner of a dog food company, and I also had 2 nonprofit shelters and rescues. So we were dealing with a lot of animals, and a lot of it was exotic stuff. And that you had to be prepared, and it wasn't just prepared for yourself; you were prepared for all the lives that were depending on you. So I had, I have a generator. I have pretty much everything should I lose power.
Mm.
And I think that's the main thing people should focus on. People are jumping around trying to get their bread and their milk and their eggs and that end of things. But if you don't have power, I guess if you have frozen food, you could throw it outside in a cooler, and it'll stay good in the freezing temperatures. But I think that's one thing people should look at. Have a small portable heater if you can get it. If you have a fireplace, that's a great thing. But we've been so locked into creature comforts of the modern day. We flip a switch and we have heat. We flip a switch and we have air conditioning, for the most part. When something like this comes up, I think that's where we need to focus on is, should we lose power? Would you be prepared for that scenario versus, a human can last quite a while without food.
Mm.
Even if we get 2 feet of snow,
Mm.
you're not going to starve in your house. Water, if you really needed water, you could go outside and, the motto will be prepared. You can put snow and you can melt it and you can filter that and you can create your own pure water,
Mm.
as long as it's not, contaminated from chemtrails and stuff that, that laid over the sky before
Oh my
the
goodness.
snow fell. Now we're going down some conspiracy theory
Oh
rabbit
my
holes.
gosh.
No, but
I,
seriously, I
yeah.
think that's the big thing that people like looking at this is don't let your emotions pull you into the chaos that the media and the news want to pull you into. And I'm sure a lot of these large corporations that back all these food companies and the milk processors and the bread and the soup, I'm sure they have a vested interest in sensationalizing this, because
Mm.
the pictures around here, like shelves were wiped out. If you look at if you look at bread
Goodness.
shelves, if you look at the containers, that even hold vegetables and meat and milk, people were showing me photos that like it was completely wiped out. And all I could think is, wow, this is really chaotic that people get that pulled into the sensationalization of what the media is telling them, that they're not rationally thinking, hey, I have a ton, I've just stocked my refrigerator, but if I lose power, what's going to happen to all that food? So I think we have to take a step back and we have to rationally look at this whole situation. So that would be my, as a medium, my 2 cents, or look at the things that truly matter. And that would be if you lose power, how can you sustain yourself, your animals, and what, if you have medications that you need, make sure you have that type of stuff. The human body can survive quite a while without food, and it can survive a decent amount of time without water.
Mm.
We're not going to be snowed in for 7 solid days. There's going to be a point in time where you're going to be able to get out, So I
Okay,
think that's the thing. I
come
think that's the
on.
thing we
I'm
have
the
to.
optimist here.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly, I haven't even gone to the grocery store yet. I'm not worried about it because
No,
I live
exactly.
on the main road, and I don't know. I'm not going down that road. I'm thinking, what's the most it's going to be? Saturday and Sunday, or Sunday,
Let's all
Monday.
just think about going out in that beautiful snow and making snow in
I
it.
don't know. They've hyped up snowstorms in the past and it hasn't turned out to be anything. All right.
Yeah.
So our guests are going to come on. We're supposed to have 3 guests. I hope that they all can join us. Let me just get onto the subject and we can talk about this wildly interesting subject of the snowstorm after we have our guests tonight. Okay. Paranormal, everyone. Well, I'm used to experiencing paranormal events. What is it? It's an unexplained phenomenon without scientific explanation. It's events and occurrences involving maybe psychokinesis, which is moving objects by mental abilities, maybe your ESP, extrasensory perception, supernatural experiences beyond the limits and laws of nature, the forces of nature, ghosts, spirits. Michael Ledley's had spoken to ghosts and spirits, and maybe God. It might be paranormal, might be considered extraterrestrials, UFOs, cryptids, which are reported animals or creatures that are unnamed by science, angelic beings, which I've experienced, demonic entities I've also experienced, and stories of folklore origin can be considered paranormal, hauntings, psychic abilities, and strange events.
Yeah.
So there are many possibilities when it comes to the word paranormal or supernatural. They're not interchangeable, they're different, but I myself have had paranormal experiences. I've been at haunted buildings. It's not as dramatic as everyone thinks necessarily. There's very few experiences that I have had that are related to like a poltergeist or something demonic. But yes, they are there. They do exist. Everyone has their perception who's a investigator and intuitive based on what they've gone through. We do have one of our guests. I don't know. I see Brandon's here, but we have a couple more minutes and we'll just wait. I do want to say something about the guests. Should I say something about the guests?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the supernatural. And I think that's one thing that in modern times we've kind of gotten away from that, and we do live in a supernatural coexistence between this physical world and the non-physical world. There is supernatural realms that intertwine into this physical realm, and humanity has been part of that from the beginning of time. Even if we look back look at the Old Testament and look at the New Testament, and from very profound books that people, spiritual books, and there is the supernatural all throughout. And the funny thing is, most people want to stray away from that. They don't want to look at the supernatural in any experience, whether some people are frightened by it or some people just don't feel like the science has been behind it, which now with quantum physics and everything we're seeing in the scientific community, it's absolutely opening and unfolding. And I think what we're seeing is modern science now is just catching up to what the mystics and what people that understood the supernatural forces that coexist with us knew about. So science is finally catching up. But even like the oldest writings in human history talk about supernatural experiences. So I think anyone to discredit that or not believe in it, that's just out of either ignorance or fear. And that's the reality of it, because the supernatural absolutely exists and we are blended in with that. And I think when you can allow yourself to be open to that and let go of any fears that are around it, you'll see that the supernatural realm is something we can tap into and utilize for our highest and best possibilities in this physical realm. And that's to really simplify it, but the supernatural is all around us in every moment that we live this life, this human existence. So we're intertwined with the supernatural, and that's the bottom line.
I like to say that our eyes have, I think it's like some crazy number, like 0.0035% of what's going on around us. Just because we can't see it with our eyes doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There's a lot of things going on right here in this room that I'm having. If puzzle stream was ended.
Well, and that's one reason why animals can pick up on so much more, because their audio spectrum is much a wider range than the human ear can hear, and also their visual spectrum. Look at certain animals that use sonar, that use infrared. Look at the different aspects of, look at bats, look at whales, look at dolphins. There's so much more to this physical realm that us as humans can't even comprehend, because our natural senses can't pick up on it. But we have tools and technology now that are starting to be, that are being able to read and register those aspects of it, and look at CERN. Look at CERN and the quantum physics experiments they're doing, and they're picking up on particulate matter that humans never knew existed, and now we're seeing, just 2 decades ago, they thought black matter was just empty space. Now they can register and scientifically pick up a whole quantum realm in that black matter. So it's just a matter of time that science is going to keep unfolding and show us what ancient mystics have always known.
So, Michael, for some reason, I'm having an issue on I can see you, I'm here, but for some reason, I'm hearing that my show's off. So I'm going to get off. You guys stay on.
Yeah,
and I'm going to, and the guys are all here. So I'm going to add them one at a time. So somehow it's not on mine, but I'm just going to give you the explanation about them, and then I'll go back to mine. So established in 2010, I want to say that's what, I believe that's when they started. We're not saying it's haunted, but yeah, it's probably haunted. We're made up of several individuals with various backgrounds fueled by caffeine and sarcasm. When something happens, we're the ones running toward the action, and usually with a recorded in one hand and sarcasm in another. Cross the Line Paranormal isn't just a name, it's a warning. We mix real world diagnostic skills with paranormal investigations, helping people understand the things that go bump in the day or night. And what I'm realizing right now is I want to make sure that you're actually streaming on Facebook. Otherwise, we have to start. For some reason, there's bad service here. Let me just see.
Yeah, we're on. So I got the thumbs up that we are streaming on Facebook, and you and I can both be seen.
Okay, so I'm going to just get off and get back on. Okay, but I'm going to add these guys. Okay.
What is up, gentlemen? This is Cross the Line Paranormal. So I have David, James, and Brandon. Well, welcome, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here. So you have one part of two psychics, and there's the better looking half.
Hi.
Mary, what is up, Mary? You back with us? Yeah.
Hi. I'm here. Like you can see me, right? But for some reason, it's not streaming on my Facebook. So I don't know.
I can't hear.
We're on mine. So.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Let me pull up everyone's, get this off so everyone's name shows up. Hi. Where's everyone coming from? Tell us your names and everything.
Can you guys each introduce yourselves and let us know where you're coming from?
Sure. James from South Georgia.
And I'm David from North Florida.
Brandon from North Florida.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. So you guys are all over the place, but you're kind of along the East Coast here with us for the most part, right? So
yeah,
great to have you here.
Thank you.
And it's funny because when we talk about paranormal, a lot of people, I don't think they completely understand the whole wide gambit and spectrum of paranormal investigation. Can you guys talk a little bit about what you do, your processes and procedures, what kind of tools you're utilizing, but kind of what brought you to, and whoever wants to answer this first, or you can each kind of take a part of it, but what brought this about and brought all three of you together to do this and to try to explore it?
Go ahead, James.
I guess I'll go first. As far as with the team, we've been around since 2010. I actually started in 2013 and took over from a buddy of mine who started the group later on, several years later. Met David on TikTok of all things, and then caught up with Brandon at one point. He was on the team prior as well, or in the early years, and we kind of just came of a brotherhood. As far as processes and procedures, I mean, we try to use common sense. We're not out there with a rule book. Not taking off checklists. We get serious, but we also have fun with it. We try to bring that energy to the location. Now, if we are in a home location, we try to be a little more serious, obviously, for the homeowner. We're not cutting jokes with each other and stuff like we would. Now, we will a little bit to try to ease the homeowner's tension, but we do take that a little more seriously. But if we're going into a location, it's, we're there to experience it. And, if we can catch something great, we also try to bring that energy to hopefully the spirits as well will respond to, the humor of things instead of just the same old questions. That's one thing David likes to ask you. Are you tired of the same old questions? So that's kind of a roundabout of how we do it. Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's good. That's cool. So it kind of organically all came together, and yeah, social media is an amazing thing. It can bring like minds together and create something really special. That's what we saw here with Two Psychics. So yeah, I commend you guys with that. That's excellent. Now, was there an experience that all of you or some of you had like as a child or in your own home, or something that kind of opened you up to, wow, there's something beyond this physical realm. There's something paranormal, or like, did you guys have some type of ghost experience, a haunting, or some type of psychic or mediumship type experience? Like, what kind of opened the doorway to this?
As far as myself, I've experienced stuff all through since I was little. My family's never shied away from the paranormal. They always told me, fear the living, not the dead. Hey, Eric. And stuff like that. And I always had experiences since I was a kid. So as far as me, it was always, now I say as a kid, I was more, I guess, skittish or scared a little bit of it because I didn't know what it was until the OG Ghost Hunters show came out. And I'm like, wow, you can actually investigate this stuff, and then it turned it from a fear into more of an interest for me.
Brandon.
Go ahead, David.
Well, what got me into it, I was just a debunker. I really didn't believe it at the very beginning of the time I started. It took me a minute to adapt to it, because after, being there and being at home and watching it is a whole different ball game. Sometimes TV can manipulate stuff to make it look like it's more fake and fear of what they doing. But I was like, I got to feel it myself. I got to touch it, hear it, to believe it. And at the point, I wasn't that guy. I was like, that knock, that settlement is just the house, the floors creaking, or the winds blowing. But I'm getting more believing into it as well as I grow into this. It's a time stamp for me as I grow into it. Joining with these guys as well, it helps me a lot. And like David, he's like me, a hardcore debunker, and I'm glad he's there with me, because James, he likes to pick on me about it. But I'm glad I got a fellow brotherhood down at the bottom of me right now that is on the same page as well.
I debunk too. Just
He does. I'll give him that.
He does.
Like,
he's getting into more of it.
He put out a video about like some evidence that we had potentially caught, and then he literally went back and was like, nope, this was one of our teammates. So like he does debunk, and because we don't want to put anything out there that's not real or or anything like that. Our credibility means everything. But I mean that one of the biggest things I think that we take away from it and is not only spaces, but we believe that everybody's haunted by something. And so if whatever that may be, whether that be trauma, whether that be actual spirits, whether that just whatever the case may be, everybody's carrying something. And will that be manipulated into their world? We don't know that. Right. We're trying to figure that out. But I mean, trauma holds a lot of places and a lot of things in your life. So we try to also help not only the areas that we go, but the people we go with. Right. Like these two caught me at like kind of a weird headspace in time. Like I just kind of felt stuck and plateaued in life. And then it just
made
took
a crying video.
That wasn't crying. It was teary-eyed. It was misty.
It was a sob story.
It was a misty. It wasn't even sobbing. I don't know where he keeps getting this. But no, I think again, it's like right off the rip, we clicked. It was very first investigation, and then it was just from there something beautiful was born. It was we can razz on each other just like I did in the military, brothers and sisters, right? Like I can razz on these guys and they give it right back. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for somebody just to take it, right? So they do it, and we just have a lot of fun doing it. But as far as what we bring to the field is kind of what James said. It's more so common sense. Like, what are we actually dealing? But for the most part, what we've noticed is that when you're kind of joking around with each other, the spirits want to engage with you more because you're not really necessarily paying attention to them. You're now paying attention to everybody else and you're joking. And that's when things typically happen. You know, things move, doors move, like when you're not paying attention to them. So narcissistic, can we call it? Maybe, not really sure. But at the end of the day, you know, we're there to see them.
Yeah,
So.
it's almost like you let your guard down, and when you do that and you're not focused on it, they want to grab your attention.
Right.
I give you guys a lot of credit though, approaching it from, you know, getting into it from a skeptical mindset, because from what we've seen, I mean, that makes the best investigation, you know, that you can rule out some kind of electrical interference or something going on with that home settling, just exactly what you guys were talking about. And I think when you approach it in that type of evidential way, when you truly hit certain things, you're like, oh, we don't have an explanation for this, or you're truly picking up on some kind of energetic form that you can't explain, and then you can explore it deeper. That gives it so much more credibility, you know. So I commend you guys for being skeptical initially when, you know, getting into this and approaching it in that way, and then keeping it fun. Now,
Yeah,
I'm sure I know Mary Amy's got a lot of questions, bro, and I can already see it. I know.
I love it though.
But can you guys talk about some of the early on, like what were some of the first experiences going into this as a skeptic, and hey, let's try to debunk this, or, you know, let's see if something's really going on. What were some of the first experiences that you had together that you were like, all right, there's something happening here that we can't explain, and I was skeptical about this, but now I'm starting to see that there is something to this. Like, what were those experiences like, or can you talk about a certain particular experience that maybe happened when you all came together?
There's been so many.
I know.
Evidentorily, I would have to say, I mean, the first time we ever investigated together was old
Hamilton Jail.
Hamilton Jail.
Yeah.
And that's in Jasper, Florida. And that place is very, very active for a very small space. So, I mean, it was one of those where we did a lot of, you catch a lot of EVPs there for the most part, but James has caught, jail cell slamming when they had left for dinner on his static cameras and stuff like that. But I mean, you do, like, whenever we do go to a space, we automatically want to see or feel the space, right? We'll use Brandon for that. Like, cause Brandon picks up on that type of stuff. Like, you know, every time he says, "Oh man, I feel kind of odd or weird," something happens where we really haven't nailed that down. Yeah. So he cries, I pull him out, James films him.
I wasn't going to say that. That's why I said very emotional.
the emotions.
Right. But no, I mean, it's just that's Brandon though. I mean, like, whenever he says that, he's proven to me that I can pay attention to that. Right. So it's not one of these where he just cries to cries, right? He really does, I believe, feel where he's at. Right. Sensitive. But in a very lovable, gigantic way, right? Because the man is like 6'4", and, you know, thoroughbred, if you will. But nevertheless, but yeah, he's just you pick up on each other, you know, and what each other brings, and I think that utilizing every single person's strengths, it only heightens the investigation, right? So I'm going to be like a bull in a china closet. I'm going to go forward, period. It doesn't matter. And then James is going to tell me stop or do something, you know what I mean? So we try to pick up on each other's energies and what we bring to the table. And I think that that's what makes this team, as well as Bree and a few others that investigate with us, you know, we try to pick up on their strengths too.
So the first experience we had that David didn't even talk about, that whole spill.
It was Hamilton.
Shadow.
That was the experience.
Figure. He asked what it was. We saw was the shadow arm, if you will. We neither one of us described it to each other. We were just like, "Did you see that?" He was like, yeah. I think I saw what, you know. And then we went back and told Brandon, and it was like it was just like this weird shadow, like almost like an arm just, you know, down the hallway. And we're like, okay, you know. Yeah, so that was the first time for us. And then we all three of us together in one of the rooms heard like a woman, and then Brandon had a weird vibration sensation
Somewhere
in
we
his
can't
nether
mention it.
regions. And so that was kind of strange, but that would be I would have to say our first experience as together as a team with that.
And that's the point where you all said, okay, there's something to this. So Cross the Line Paranormal is going to form and be something that we move forward with.
Right.
Exactly.
It must be nice. It must be nice when you have each other, so you're all having the experience where you feel like, okay, it's not just me. He heard it too. And I when I've been involved with paranormal experiences, because I was part of like the Brooklyn Paranormal Team like in 2018, and we did events, and I found that the more that I delved into these paranormal occurrences, then the more they happened. Has that happened for you guys? Where the more that it's like an energy that you're feeding, and it's just more is coming to you.
In some sense, yes.
Yes.
In some sense,
for me, it seems like, because I've been doing it. I mean, as long as I can remember, as far as a team since 2013, but even before that, I did it solo, and just experiences all growing up. So yeah, I would say the more kind of, the more you're around it, the more it seems like it feeds it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, solo is like I've been off and on since 2010 in the paranormal field. But then that was in the military. But then when I medically retired out, I took a little hiatus, and then it wasn't until I met up with James and the team to become a part of that too. So, but yeah, I mean, you do feed the environment you go into, the energy you bring in, and we say this constantly to people we take out. The energy you bring is the energy you'll get. I mean, plain and simple. If you go in there closed-minded and not wanting to do anything, then guess what? They're going to be there that same way with you. So engagement's everything.
Y'all don't hear my dogs barking, do you?
No.
No.
Not on mine.
Okay.
You do.
Okay. I hear them. Just
Unless you got
bring
ghost
them on,
dogs.
they can be part of the podcast. You can get them in the
Come on
get
in.
them in the
That's
camera view
right.
with you.
All 5 of them.
So Eric is writing a lot of comments. I don't know if you guys can see this. We'll just go through them quick. Hey everyone, you got my 3 favorite peeps right here. We were chasing ghosts last weekend. They are very knowledgeable. Credibility is everything. That Jill is super active. Braden gives great hugs. LOL. I heard Miami ladies love Brandon Jarvis.
Yeah, they do. Well, because Eric is definitely one of those very special peeps. He's part of the Haunted Files on Paraflix, and Mike, and so he was gracious enough to set up a ghost hunt for one of our Echoes Veteran Project episodes. So we went down to Miami last weekend and ghost hunted with him and his team too. So he definitely holds a special place for us, at least. Eric does.
Yeah, absolutely. Special place with us too. Eric has been a guest on our show. We've been part of his show. So he's one of our honorees that we have as the 2 psychics moves forward. Yeah. Eric is a great guy. So what is up, Eric? And it's cool when like minds come together. Awesome thing that you guys can work together, and you can kind of build that rapport and utilize everyone's skill set. But I'm going to shift this a little bit to you, Brandon. I'm curious. So it seems like you were very intuitive and empathic probably your whole life, and that's kind of why they throw you into the lion's den initially to see what you're picking up. So I'm curious for you, what type of experiences did you have growing up as a child? Did you have psychic, intuitive, empathic experiences growing up? Did you come from a family that was around spirituality or religion that kind of opened you to this, or where did this start?
I never was grow up around it. Never been around anything like that. It was kind of weird that happened a year ago. I was down into the tunnels of Pinhurst, and that was the actual first feeling I ever got, and I didn't know how to accept it or let it. Let it out, or how to control it. It was a learning process. The more I started feeling things, I let them guys know, hey, I'm feeling something, and they can tell, and I can tell, because when I start shivering, getting the chills, my voice starts changing. It feels like I'm a person just seen a car accident, somebody died, and that's how I express my feelings. And I was scared to talk about it to anybody because I didn't want nobody to look at me like I'm a 6'4" psycho person, crazy, running around, coming up with words and like seeing pink elephants, whatever, running. But these guys actually help me understand it, and there's more people out there really that open me up to it as I more talk about it, but try not to push my limits, but just let it flow. And as it progressed, as it grows, I'm still learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's cool, and
I'm
that's part
not
of the
running.
process.
I'm not running away from it. I want to learn more, but I'm just, it's, like your parents always tell you, your grandparents, you got to crawl before you walk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like learning an instrument. I like to explain it as like learning how to play, guitar. You pick up the guitar, maybe you can hit a couple strings, but as you start practicing, you can start doing some chords, then you can start playing some songs and some solos, and it's an ongoing learning process. So yeah, that's excellent. And that's part of the process, is not allowing the rational mind to just rule things out, or that was a coincidence. You have to be open to the supernatural aspects of the world, and yeah, you're absolutely going to tune in more and more. You definitely have a lot of natural psychic abilities. I just feel and sense that around you. So I think the more you start working with it, the more it's going to develop into something really special with you.
I just don't understand. I'm still trying to pinpoint it. Did it all happen and started coming to me when I had the wreck back in '95, that I had an out of body experience, that I was sitting up in the tree watching people down below me and seeing myself? Did it start there? I don't know.
It could have. Yeah, it absolutely could have. Some people will experience psychic, intuitive, occurrences very early on in life, and then some people, something like that, a near-death experience, can absolutely trigger it and kind of propel you into that energetic realm. Yeah, no doubt about it. So I would say, if at that point and after you started experiencing more and more of that energetic realm, then that's probably what kind of propelled and threw you into it. Yeah, it was probably always there, but that really opened it up. And you probably did you have a very rational way of looking at things? Were you always trying to, like, the rational mind kind of was answering everything? Were you very, processes and procedures and analytical in how you approach things?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Because a lot of times,
as far as it's debunking,
that can block out our intuitive psychic abilities, and a lot of times you'll see, as children, we're all tuned into it. We're all open to it. We all have that creative imagination that I think that supernatural realm blends with, and I think a lot of us, as we age and we get older, we start blocking it out, or we rule things out as coincidence. And sometimes it takes an experience like a near-death occurrence to kind of re-trigger it. And that's probably what happens. That would be my suggestion to you, would be just jump in with both feet, start learning it, start seeing how that energy resonates with you, and just understand it's an ongoing process that we develop. It's not just something that happens and then that's it. It's something that we keep on learning and developing, and it grows within us. So that's what it sounds like to me. What would you say, Mary? What do you think?
I sense that these guys are all brothers from a previous life.
Yeah.
There's this connection that I feel like, who's the youngest, who's the oldest. There's just like this camaraderie and this bonding, and there's something here. it's so interesting, and it's very complimentary. Like I had this visual, like, okay, I see them like going on these investigations, and it's an animation, or it's something else that's like done with like a video game or something. Like you guys have something here that's sellable on many levels. Like, is it books? Is it a movie? I don't know. There's a lot going on here. It's very positive though, because you guys have this energy. It's very, very lifting energy. And I can see when you go into a location, I'm sure that your energy is actually boosting whatever the energy of the spirits, or like the paranormal that you're having there. I can see, I already know this. It must be really fun when you guys do this. It's very
Yeah.
up, like you get very excited about going together and doing this, don't you?
Yeah, you should see the car rides.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not rated E for everyone. I will say that.
No.
But it's I mean it's definitely one where we have a lot of fun together.
Hey, Bruce.
We definitely rag on each other a lot, but there's also a lot of love. There's also a lot of respect, and we are like brothers. We will fight like brothers too. We go back and forth. But
if you didn't know us, you actually would like look at us and like they're really about to duke it out, but we don't.
So you guys bring out the best. You guys bring out the best in each
Exactly.
right.
I actually want to iterate back real fast to Michael's point with Brandon. I will have to compliment Brandon. When he was talking about what you were seeing with him and his growth, and I was trying to sit here and think back when he started back with us, because I didn't know him the first time. He started in 2010 with CLP, but he left after in the early years and then come back in 19, I think 20, but 2020. But I was there just trying to think, but I want to say, as far as with us investigating his first experience again at Hamilton, we were doing a Delco session. He started crying. Not like sobbing, just tears, and he couldn't understand why he had tears. And of course, we picked on him about that. And but then later on, I'm sitting here thinking again, it seemed like Pennhurst was when it really hit. He got really emotional. It was more than just tears. It was like he was feeling through his whole body someone's sorrow, someone's sadness, and he was trying to express it, but he didn't understand it at the same time. And it didn't help. I stuck a camera in his face saying, "Tell us what you're feeling, Brandon." But he seems like each time he has progressed. Like when we went to Milledgeville, it turned from just that moment of feeling in one spot to him walking around saying, "I feel like I'm being led this way. I feel like I'm being led into here. I feel, he is growing in that aspect."
Yes, when I walked away and started going down the hallway by myself, and you followed me, asking me where I was going.
Yeah.
Never replied back, but I just said something that's pulling me down this way.
Is that like he was there, but he wasn't? I guess you could say, just following his instincts or his feelings, And so I would have to say, since I've met him again and starting over, he has definitely progressed in that aspect of things. So definitely, who knows what the future holds for him down the road as he progresses with it.
Got to watch it. You're going to be going into a trance and have something jump into you, and start talking in an 1800s civil war soldier.
As long as he doesn't turn into Vesca and he's elevating off of the ground, I think we're going to be fine. So,
that's cool.
He's like that.
What kind of strange animals and creatures have you met in Florida? Have you had any phone calls where they say,
we're diving down the cryptid?
There's something in my backyard. I don't know what it is.
Brandon? No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing. I mean, what isn't here really in Florida? You know what I mean? Like there's so much lore down here. I mean, especially the Gators and everything else, to Bigfoot, to a couple of different other cryptid lores. And I believe some of them.
Mhm.
But yeah, but for the most part, one of the only ones I really truly believe is Bigfoot. Is the swamp ape down here? It has been reported on all over Okefenokee, all over Okeechobee Park, all over the Everglades. So I kind of tend to believe. I mean, well over, what was it, 1,200 reports last year alone in Florida, but that was on the Florida Sasquatch page on Facebook. Again, I'm not taking that as concrete evidence that that's how many, but no, I mean, they're seeing something, whatever that is. I have not seen it. I mean, you go to Walmart, you could potentially see it, right? So it just, but no, I think again, it's one of those things. It's also perception. What is it truly is that person seeing? I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
How many shrooms have he had?
Right, that part too.
Were you walking through a cow pasture before you went into that forest?
Right. Edible, non-edible.
I'd say we haven't gotten any calls as far as possible cryptids or anything from like house calls and stuff. Usually most of ours, it's terrified of something in their closet. Our friend Aurora in the chat, she's actually we were invited to come along with her team, Lone Wolf Paranormal, but she may be dealing with something possibly skinwalker or what's the other term? Oh gosh, I can't think of it, but I may just leave with skinwalker. But that's up more in Americus, Georgia. At some people's house, and they were there, and they were experiencing things with the child following a voice out into the woods, talking about his friend, and they were hearing the voice calling for him. It's so far as that, which is the Indian lore of all that, it goes back thousands of years. So there's obviously got to be something there with that as well. But we don't get a lot. I'm kind of like David. I'm more on the Bigfoot. I'd love to chase the Jersey Devil. See, I've always been fascinated with that story growing up. But and UFOs, big on the UFOs.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
So
Wendigo,
now
Wendigo.
we've delved into like kind of the history, what brought you guys together. I think one thing here on Two Psychics podcast, one thing our listeners love to hear are the paranormal occurrences. Like let's hear, let's dive into some of these stories. Can you guys share with us some of the wildest experiences that you've seen? What have you come across? What's going on there?
Do you want to go first, David? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because again, I already know which one you're going to bring up. Because again, you know what I'm going to bring up here, but the staple in it is Pennhurst for me. That was the most active night, but it really started with how it started, how the trip itself. So we actually chased Hurricane Beryl all the way up to Pennhurst, and Pennhurst was pretty much flooded out. And for those that investigate in Hey Dudes, don't do that. All right.
And now,
I found out
our listeners that aren't familiar with Pennhurst, can you give them a little history on that? That's the Pennhurst Asylum, correct?
That's correct. In Pennsylvania.
Can you give a little history on that?
Yeah. So in 1920s, it actually opened up as a boys' school. And then it kind of changed hands to a hospital and then eventually to an insane asylum / prison at one point, to like a couple cells in a couple of different buildings. But that's where they held the worst of the worst. But they mainly called it the Black Eye of Pennsylvania for many, many years. And so obviously there was a couple of different legislation that brought it to its knees, and then it went away and it became abandoned until a proprietary bought it, and obviously now does paranormal investigations out of it. But the Mayflower building on Pennhurst is probably the most active building in that, from the basement all the way to the third floor. So I had most of my experiences in the Mayflower before we even started, and we walked into Pennhurst. I heard footsteps running up the stairs. So it was, and that was broad daylight. This is what happened, and but I saw the darkest shadow figure of my life there, and it wasn't like that very fast moving one. It was literally stuck its head out of a doorway, looked at me, and then came back. And it took me a second to process it, where it was like, what the hell did I just see? Oh, that was a shadow figure. Because because everybody else was behind me. So I didn't, obviously in the Kings area, it's one long hallway all the way down to the back side of the door. So, and they have furniture stacked up all the way to the ceiling in the very back of that tunnel. So there was nobody down there. Saw that. I mean, I got scratched in a porta potty, heard whistling in the Devon building. I mean, that place was just, from the get-go to the very end until 3 a.m, it was just nonstop activity. Nonstop.
We heard the voices and saw the flashlights too down in the Kings area.
I mean,
we thought it was
disembodied
security
voices
coming down, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, we heard like a full-on conversation, James and I did, down there. Like there was 3 or 4 people talking, and we thought it was another team.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Are you done, David?
You are now. Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So I mean, Pennhurst was just amazing. It was nonstop from time till we left, just stuff happening. Waverly holds a key to my heart for one specific experience. I had experiences there. I've been like 3 times, and I've had cool experiences. Hearing things, sound like stuff being thrown on the floor above me and all that. But me and my wife were coming out of the body shoot, and when we went down, we were the only ones to go down there. When we went down there, all the doors were shut on the first floor, and they have low lighting on the first floor. They have lights on, but it's really dim, like something out of a horror movie. And I knew the doors were locked because I tried to get in them earlier, just exploring. And so we went down in the body shoot for a little bit. And we come back out. We're walking back out. We're just talking. And I'm not running a camera. I'm just running a recorder with a headset on. And we come back out, and you come out of the body shoot, and there's a little hallway, and then it opens into the floor with all the doors. Well, the door's open, which I thought was odd. And it was a door right across from the men and women's bathroom. And I thought it was kind of odd. This was February. So they got the heaters running for what little power area there is. And I lean in, and I'm like, well, it's too loud. We can't go in here. So I lean back and let my wife lean in. Well, I just happened to just turn to look where we just walked from, and there's a female hospital patient standing there, like something out of The Ring. I remember she had the gown on, it had little designs on it, black hair covering most of her face. I remember seeing part of her arm. It was gray. There was no facial features that I could really see because most, hair. She was there. I screamed, "Oh shit," and turned away, and she was gone. And I was like, "Whoa, that was just." Did I see? She was so close. I only saw her from the waist up because my wife was leaning in. The way she was standing, my wife's body was blocking her lower half. That's how close she was. And amazing. And so I later on, I felt that we went back, and I apologized to her for screaming at her. And because I said I wasn't expecting to see you, and I don't think you were expecting to see me. So I apologized for cussing. And we did get an EVP that she remembered me, and then I asked for her name, and she said no, she wasn't going to tell me her name. And but it made me feel better about apologizing to her for that. But that was just, I mean, she was solid. It was like a person standing there. Just, it was wild. And if you go back and listen on the recorder, she was following us, because on the recorder, before we got to the door, when me and my wife were talking, my wife stopped, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I heard something dragging behind me." So, and then it led up to that of me seeing her. So she was following us at some point around there. But that was wild. So Waverly holds a place for me on because of that.
And where is that location?
Amazing.
Can you share that location?
Oh, Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Waverly Tuberculosis Hospital in Louisville, Kentucky.
Massive.
Now, when you saw the nurse, was she like semi-translucent, or were you seeing her like an?
No, she was a patient. She was a patient. No, she was solid as me and you.
Wow.
The only thing was, I guess, like I said, it was fast, but I still remember everything. Her skin was gray. There was a split in her hair that was gray, but I couldn't see a nose or eyes or anything. It was just hair covering, kind of split. You could see just the face, and then the hospital gown, and there was like designs on the gown. I don't really remember what they were so fast, but I remember there was little designs on the gown, and I could see part of her arm. That was about it. I couldn't see waisted lower. I couldn't see any of that. And because I tensed up like a defense. So I turned, started, oh shit, and turned, like just defensed up and turned away because I was not expecting a woman to be standing there.
Yeah, it's startling.
And, yes, it was. Yes, it was. But like I said, I feel better. I apologize to her for it because I did not mean to curse like that. It's just out of the blue. Go ahead, Brandon.
Y'all been on to the favorite places I haven't got a chance to go to because I've been, y'all, it's hard to work around my schedule.
Well, what's a great experience you've had? That's what he's wanting to know.
Oh,
Besides
that was
hanging
down.
out with me at Penhurst?
That was. I mean, it was earlier. That was down in the tunnels in Penhurst.
Oh, when you got emotional?
Yeah. Besides seeing do what now?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said besides seeing the mannequins where we got that EVP, that I don't like mannequins. I mean, they don't bother me during the daytime, but walking up pitch black and you can't see them, and then you see 50 of them down in the hallway covered in sheets.
It's used for their Halloween horror house, if you will. So they keep the mannequins down there for just for storage. But the one thing that Brandon said that basically it's a disembodied voice that we caught is because Brandon comes out and says, like, if one of these all move, I swear to God, I'm swinging. And the disembodied voice that James heard just said, "You lie," just like that. Oh, wow. And so the only way we caught it,
but our cameras caught it.
Yeah, he had a mic on, and so we caught it on two different cameras basically because I was streaming from my phone, and he had caught it on his camera. So the mic picked it up as well as the camera picked it up, and that's on our TikTok as well. But yeah, it definitely said "you lie" right out loud. So I really wanted Brandon to fight a mannequin. I'm not gonna lie to you though. Like,
so for some people, it's like the clowns freak them out. For Brandon, it's the mannequins.
Right. I can see Brandon fighting clowns too, though. I can. I don't know why, but it's there.
Oh, nice, Hannah.
No, that's cool. So Penhurst seems to be the place that, if anyone is skeptical about the paranormal, that's the place you bring them to, and they can't walk out of there still being skeptical. Is that correct?
I mean, there is time and state, but I mean, you more than likely, if you go to Penhurst, you'll experience something.
Yeah.
I want to go back so bad. It's not even funny.
It's very active.
I have a question, and I don't know if anyone here can answer it. And I've often wondered about this because I did do house clearings, and I found that whatever was there remained in the footprint of the house, even if they did remodeling. Do you guys know if a location that had hauntings or some kind of activity was removed, would it still remain on the earth, or would it leave with the building?
It's a good question.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's up for debate. Definitely. I think spaces, just like people, are haunted. So is that entity or spirit staying with that person, or is it truly the space, right? Because there's also the caveat to that, whereas if you renovate, it actually stirs up the activity in the home, so because now you're removing what was familiar to them that they can see, but now you're changing up their entire dynamic. But if you're trying to remove, I feel as if they just move on to a different space. That's just my opinion, but I feel like they move on to a different space until they find where they fit.
Yeah, as long as the house wasn't built on like an old Indian burial ground or Civil War cemetery, and you have a bunch of bodies underneath, and that's where the energy's pulling from.
Right.
And it's interesting because I had an experience with doing a house clearing where they kept on seeing disembodied animals, and their dog was picking up on on different activity in a certain area of the house. And the interesting thing was, even clearing it, that we couldn't really pick up on any type of ghost, paranormal hauntings, but what we found is the previous owners had 3 dogs buried in the backyard that were left behind. And that's what, as a medium, that's what I started picking up on, was the animal energy. And they actually cleansed the space, and they removed, they had they found bones. They found the skeletal structure of 3 different dogs on the property when they dug it up. And they actually had a priest come in and bless the property. And they gave the animals, I guess, like a proper burial in removing them. And they couldn't get in touch with the old owners of the property, and they weren't sure. They had contacted, I think, the 2 previous owners that were in the house, and it was none of their animals. So I do believe they actually pulled them up, and they cremated them, and they gave them a proper burial, and they released them into, I don't know whether they brought the ashes to the ocean. They did some kind of proper cleansing. And when they did that, they found that the energy must have released from the property, and the dog wasn't picking up on any crazy activity anymore, and actually started calming down and not barking in the middle of the night. So yeah, so I think you guys are correct. I think you can go both ways. Is the energy attached and coming from someone inside the facility, or is there some kind of energetic attachment, to the land, to the space? So yeah, I think definitely some variables around that.
100%. 100%.
But I think when you guys come up here and go to Pennhurst again, Mary and I might have to tag along.
I don't know.
You gotta
I've
do
never
it.
been there. I've had several different paranormal groups trying to bring me in there as a medium, and the schedule never worked out. But the more stories I hear like this, the more intrigued I am to kind of go there and just check it out.
Yeah.
It fascinates me, and it seems like everyone that goes there has some type of wild experience. It seems like there's a lot of different types of experiences, but everyone seems to come away saying, there is absolutely paranormal activity in all areas of Pennhurst.
Pretty much every inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, and as far as our experience, I can't say for anybody else's, our experiences there was nothing negative.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, the one that pulls to mind was like Mayflower, the 3rd floor. I got up there and felt anxious when I got to the 3rd floor. It was either I was out of shape climbing the stairs or I got anxious. But it just felt like more like, okay, you're not welcome. You're in my space. Please leave, get out, kind of thing like that. It wasn't anything negative, malicious, trying to attack you type energy.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
The rest of the time it was interacting, or like the one time we asked anyone down here and we got EVP said, not me.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Like being sarcastic.
Yeah. And then a whistle copying David's whistle. I mean, just different stuff like that. So it's, to us, there was a lot of bad things that happened there, but at the same time, I think you can still find good in the moments there. It's just all on how you approach it, how you energy you bring to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in there being an ass and just rude and disrespectful, and just you're walking, even though it was a horrible place, it was still their home. They had nothing else. So if you go walking in there being disrespectful, no different than somebody walking into your home, you're going to be ugly and mean to them too, and do everything you can to get them out, even if you have to attack them or whatever. So, I think a lot of it's how you approach the place. And that's what we try to do, is respectful as possible, try to have a laugh, bring in the good energy, and 90% of the time it works. 90% of the time we get some kind of positive response back.
We just razz on each other, and then they'll kick in too. You know what I mean? So
now, when you guys are doing an investigation, is it do each of you have a particular task now that's your role, or do you guys, like, is someone videoing? Is someone, like, what's the process, and how many people are normally on your team? How many, like, what kind of crew are you guys bringing into a space now, and what kind of equipment and stuff are you utilizing?
Depends.
It depends what we're doing. If we're doing CLP investigation, we have 8 members. If we're doing EVP, we have 5 members now. So far as the CLP side of it, we have all the quick recorders, K2s, different stuff, the tripwire, all that stuff, and different team members are, we'll try to separate it depending on the size, location, do EVP sessions, SD's method, however. Our EVP we're doing now, I'm usually filming, David will be filming. David most time is asking the questions because he has the veteran background and he's working with the veterans we bring. As far as asking things and whatnot, and he can chime in anytime to that. But that's usually how we separate that. And then Brandon is being Brandon. We use him for feeling. He's failed at cameraman. He keeps forgetting the record button.
I'm just a kid that goes off by itself. Where do you go? Oh, don't worry about him.
Yeah, Bigfoot hasn't hit record. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand electronics, right? So Bigfoot has a hard time. No, I'm kidding. But no, I mean, to James's point, I mean, when we started Echo's Veteran Project, we're really wanting to help bring veterans and introduce them to the field, but then also maybe experience an outlet that they may have never thought of to help deal with either PTSD or CPTSD. MST. I'm not going to really phrase that in this realm, but yeah. So we're trying to bring them and highlight what this field can actually do for you. There's a lot of veterans that are already in this field, so a lot of them just don't talk about themselves being veterans. So they just want to go out there and investigate, and that's what gave us three the idea about bringing veterans in to create that community and that tribe. And so, but for all intents and purposes, for the 8 episodes that we've filmed already, that it's worked. Every single one of them has either been on an additional investigation and or has been in contact with the local paranormal group and or has been invited back out for an investigation because they want to do it again. And so we're seeing very positive movement with that. But yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have like a standard role. Like you're not the tech person. You're not, we'll just, hey, Brandon, here's a REM pod, dead bell, tripwire, and go over there with this veteran, so we just kind of correlate that. And what we try to do is match energy for energy, right? So if I have a country boy, I'm gonna stick them with either one of them because they can translate for one another, right? So they know they understand what each other is saying. But no, it's but yeah, I mean, it's just I try to match energy for energy, and when we bring,
still gotta give this to Brandon.
Speaking stuff. But yeah, no, I think again, it's just I try to match each veteran up that we bring out. I try to match them with a good match for their energy that they bring to who they are and what they hold dear. And so far it's going really well. We do screen every single veteran before we bring them out, saying, hey, this is what you may experience. I've got to make sure that you're at least in a decent mental health aspect. I don't want you, maybe flipping script on us in the middle of an abandoned building out in the middle of nowhere where I don't have cell service and I can't get you help and or myself and our team help, right? So I try to safeguard as much as possible for all of that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it besides any of these boys right here with any other team, Bree and Nate as well, who are part of EVP. And obviously like Lone Wolf, we've worked with them, and Haunted Files, we've worked with them. And I mean, the curator of Milledgeville. I mean, so we've worked a lot with great people, and that's what we want to be. We want to be a part of a good community, and that has each other's backs.
David, James, and Brandon, how do the people around you receive this? What are their thoughts about what you're doing here, and is there support? Is it exciting for them? What kind of experiences have you had with, your family or your friends in relation to what you do?
All positive. I mean, we have yet to meet any kind of barrier. I mean, for all intents and purposes, like they don't allow groups to go into Milledgeville. So Milledgeville was at one point in 1842 one of the largest lunatic asylums in the world. It's up in Georgia, And I send one email, and it gets to the curator of the museum, Seeking Asylum. So if you want to see her website, Seeking Asylum, but she's the curator of the museum there. And then she was also in the mental health space for over 14 years prior to taking a step back and running this museum. And now she's a huge advocate. But she immediately reached out to me and was like, yep, let's do this. So we were one of the first teams to do it the right way. And I say that by asking permission to be there, permit signed, everything the right way, the first team to be there in over 20 years, just because of this, so what we're trying to do for veterans, but it's received. I mean, as soon as I brought it up to Eric, and James and I brought it up to Eric in Savannah, he's like, we got to do something at Gold Coast. I mean, it was right off because, his father served, so there's a special place. A lot of our family members have served in some capacity, whether that be first responder, veteran, whatever, there's some service there. And I think that it reflects that they want to honor that as well.
And do you find with the training of the vets and kind of what they've gone through that they can be a little more tuned in to some of the details and pick up on some of the subtleties of the space where maybe someone else wouldn't because of their training and background?
Well, yes. So 1000% yes, but also too, there's reservations with that. Mm-hmm. Some of them may be so in tune that they're actually not experiencing. Right. Okay. We want to make sure that they're experiencing. Like a great example, if I give them a tool to use, let's say, for instance, I send them out with a REM pod, right? I always try to give them at least one instrument to use. And now they have something that can take their mind off of the space that they're in and currently focus on an instrument, a tool, right? So when we went overseas, we didn't go overseas with our beautiful personalities, right? We went over with instruments and things to protect ourselves. So we have to give them something in order to take their mind out of being overloaded with the space, and then maybe they can kind of centralize back to themselves. And that's what we're trying to give them too, is a sense of purpose outside of themselves and with a team environment, because that's what most veterans suffer from, is isolation. I mean, when we isolate because people don't understand us, and at the end of the day, we don't want them to. That's what most veterans don't understand. I don't want my wife, my kids, or anybody to understand what I'm going through. Because if that's the case, then again, we're both in one boat, no damn paddle. We're just kind of just floating downstream in this hellish existence, right? So when you have like myself, like if I call James or Brandon, they pick up the phone. What's up? You good? How was your day? You know what I mean? So like, it's typically when people call me, it's what I could do for them. They just ask if I'm good, and I think that's the community that you need.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it can give them purpose and maybe utilize that training to pick up on something that someone that didn't have that background and training might not be able to comprehend. No, that's cool. I think that's an awesome thing that you guys are doing. I commend you for that. And yeah, I think there's a lot on the horizon for you guys. And it seems like you're doing this in the right way. You're working with the right people. So I'm curious, moving forward, what plans are there for Cross the Line Paranormal and bringing more vets in, working with them? Like what do you guys have on the horizon?
Don't want to give too much away, but so I think there's going to be many olive branches from here. I will say that this is still growing, and it's growing at a rapid pace. I don't want it to grow so fast because, again, this is all coming out of our pockets. Like we do this out of the love of our veterans and each other too. So we get an experience from it too. So it's not that we're looking for that monetarily, but again, it's just, I don't want it to grow too quickly where we can't control or we're in over our heads. So we're doing it very subtly, which I think is a lot better in the initial startups, because what we'd like to do is team up with other groups that are like-minded, that are like us. Like we like to have a good time, joke around, create that, because veterans, and these two can tell you, they are very brash. They're very like upfront and honest. And so like, sometimes I have to say like, oh man, I was just joking. Hopefully you didn't take that serious. I'm just joking. I'm kidding. But no, they can be that way. And so it's very important that we align with good-hearted people, but also like-minded people that can handle some pretty excessive and aggressive egos. I'm not going to say they're aggressive, but it's definitely ego-driven to a point, because if they're not the alpha of the space, they want to try to become that space, if that makes sense. Because in the military, you have to overtake a space. It's just the way we're trained. You have to overtake it. You have to, you're never there to consume it. You're there to overtake it. And we're trying to switch that mind frame. We want you to consume the environment and be a part of the environment rather than try to take it over.
Wow. Okay, I have a question before you go. Do you find that the guys that are in the military or past, have been in the military, have very keen intuitive abilities, so they work well doing paranormal investigations?
Absolutely. Because I mean, it just to Brandon's point, like when he was in his accident, right, and he felt like he was in his in the tree looking over everybody. Veterans go through that too. It's so it's because when you have trauma after trauma, you're almost looking for an explanation for that, and so your ability to see within and the outer layers of what's going on is going to be a little bit more keen than the rest of us. Like when you can ask my wife, whenever we go to a restaurant, I know where I want to sit. My back does have to be to the wall. I can't be to a door. I've got to know all egress routes in or out. Sometimes we'll sit in the parking lot and count how many people go in, and then I'll judge off of Google how long the wait period is, and say if it's like a 15-minute wait period, I'll wait for 15 minutes to see how many people go into the restaurant or Publix or something like that. Now, if it's too crowded, right? If it's not that crowded, I'm just going to walk in. I've gotten a little bit better about that, but yeah, I mean, if I can have control, I will. And I think that this opens up a little bit of, they're letting that guard down, to what Mike was saying earlier. They're letting the guard down. They're kind of seeing this for its intention is to build them into a community and into a tribe. And I mean, they still contact us to this day. They come into our lives on TikTok, and they're wanting to talk about this. And a lot of veterans and a lot of people are afraid to talk about the paranormal. To what Brandon said, they don't want to be painted as weird, because they believe in this or they have an interest in it, right? I don't care how you see me, right? I'll tell you straight out, like, I'm not here to impress you. I have another phrase for that, but I can't really say it. I don't want to get your YouTube kicked off or anything like that. But no, I think again, it's just I've hidden parts of myself for so long. I don't want to do that anymore, and so that's why when the opportunity to be with these two boys and Bree and Nate to do this and the other CLP teammates, I jumped on it. So it was at the right time in my life. And my wife, she enjoys when I leave so she can sleep, actually, so but
you don't.
No, I don't, because of you. Never mind, we're not going to go down that. That's a long story for a 2-day period. Me and James almost got divorced twice on that one trip to Miami. All right, it was.
I don't snore, okay?
Yes, you do. I've got the recording.
But I think that's half the process, though, is kind of getting past our own mindset and our, that fear of what are others going to think. And, as far as what Mary and I do, that was part of the process of embracing my mediumship, her embracing her intuitive abilities, and I think that's a great process you need to go through to grow and learn more about yourself. And once you get to that point, it sets you free, and it I think it propels you into this whole new realm, so I commend you for that. And I know, I have lots of close friends that were ex-military, and one of my friends that was he went through a lot of the Desert Storm, and he was a Ranger, and some of the stories and some of the things that he would tell me, I would absolutely say that intuitively that kept him alive. There was things that he didn't know why he was doing them, and they were beyond his training, but intuitively he knew this is, he couldn't go around the building in that way. Something was just calling to him that he had to approach it in this way. And granted, a lot of, that could be training to some degree, but I know even talking to him about it, he would be like, intuitively, I just knew I couldn't do that, or I had to approach it in this way in order to keep myself alive, you know? So absolutely, I would say you guys are tuning in to that supernatural realm, you know, and I think it's part of the process. And again, like you said, kind of letting go and allowing that to kind of expand and go through you.
Right. What is, like, we kind of call it like the path of least resistance, right? We want to make sure that we're going through the path of least resistance. Sometimes an egress route will be brushy, it will be mountainous, it will be, you know, peaks and valleys. But I think, again, it's when we explore ourselves a little bit more, and that's all this is. I mean, if you really, at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're exploring not only ourselves, but others too. But we get out there, we get into these abandoned buildings because it's easier for me to go into a haunted building that's abandoned than it was for me to go overseas. Right.
Yeah.
So like, it's just, the haunted therapist brought this up in a great way. She put it, but yeah, she said that, and it was like immediately clicked. Like, yeah, this is why I do it. It's because it's a lot easier for me. I'd much rather deal with the dead than the living.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because I don't think a lot of people would necessarily look at it like that until you explain it in that way. And yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And I
Plus,
think
I get to do it with these two
it's almost,
badasses, you know.
it's almost as if you went through all that as an experience, and it prepared you even more to be able to do this, you know. And it's almost like, all right, demonic entity, that's nothing.
Yeah. Because I've seen the evils.
Let's go.
I've seen the evil that, you know, people can do to other people, and I choose the latter, right? I choose this over that any day of the week. So, but again, too, it's like if you question existence beyond this, then I kind of question your sanity to a point too, you know, because at the same time, if you're having an inner monologue, who's listening?
Yeah, hey, it's an interesting journey, to say the least.
Yes, sir.
So where is your show promoted? What channel? How can people find you and watch you?
YouTube. That's where Echo's Veteran Project is, but I would follow too Cross the Line Paranormal. They're on all channels: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Cross the Line Paranormal. But if you want to watch our project, and TikTok. If you want to watch our project, though, that is strictly on YouTube and Facebook. So we'll put the announcements on Facebook, and then we'll be filming or releasing it on YouTube.
So exciting!
Yeah.
Yeah, there's already
we're pretty happy.
4 episodes out now on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So
yeah,
we'll
and that's to back to earlier. I was talking about family, but even we do a pre-interview with the veterans, and then we do a post after, and to watch their mindset and their energy from before and then after is amazing.
It is.
If you watch it, it's just it's heartwarming. You know, to see how they open up at the end of how this just was amazing, and just, you know, it's hard to explain. It really is. But just like this past week in Miami with Matt and Tom, you know, they were going through and just explaining. I'm behind the camera just smiling because, you know, it's just heartwarming. Just them describing their excitement and how they fit the brotherhood and hanging out and just the razzing and the experiences and all that. They just loved it. It was night and day, night and day.
Yeah, because after the filming and everything, and the next morning they wake up and they're like 2 kids in a candy store locked in, so happy, telling their stories, can't wait to get home to tell the stories to their family and friends. That feeling right there, to me, is an awesome feeling to give back like that to them.
That's beautiful.
And that's an awesome thing that you guys were able to take something that fascinated with you, that you have such a passion for, and then you've been able to find a way to incorporate the vets and give back and give them purpose and a, you know, a new way to move forward and maybe process some of the stuff they've dealt with, and kind of go inward on that inward journey, and allow that, you know, to kind of catapult them in this new direction. So I commend you guys. I think you're doing a great thing. I think there's going to be a lot of a lot of growth around this. I think you guys are just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what, you know, what you're starting now. This is going to grow into something really, really big. And it's an awesome thing being able to give back in that way, you know? So I really commend you guys on what you're doing. So David, James, Brandon, it has been a pleasure. We could talk about this stuff for hours, I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure our listeners, you know, could listen in for another hour of stories. Obviously, we're not going to keep you guys here all night, but we really appreciate you guys. We really appreciate Cross the Line Paranormal. Now, can you again share your social media? So you guys, Cross the Line Paranormal, and can you share the stuff you're doing with the vets too?
Yeah, it's Cross the Line Paranormal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. As far as YouTube, the CLP is just like some investigating stuff and all that. And funny, like our car rides, we have one of those videos on there, and that just kind of shows our personalities. And then the Echoes Veteran Project is mainly on YouTube, and we do advertise when a episode's going to come out or whatever on Facebook or TikTok. So.
All right, cool. Now, is there a Facebook page for the Echoes Veteran Project and Cross the Line Paranormal? We have.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
yes.
we will absolutely put all your guys' links in our social media. So anyone out there that's listening to Two Psychics podcast, if you guys are interested in following Cross the Line Paranormal or seeing the wonderful work they're doing, you know, with the veterans, and you want to follow along on their journey and see what they have in store, we'll absolutely have all the information in our social media. We'll be, you know, putting links in there, and you know, this has been great. I really think you guys bring like a cool energy to this, you know, and again, you know, I think a lot of people are very serious and very, you know, we gotta look at this in this analytical way, and you guys are doing it in that way, but you're bringing a lot of fun, and you know, there's this. There's just, you know,
you guys are just fun to be around. This power that I've been
your energy is infectious.
It lifted me up.
Thank you.
I can't help but just sit here and smile listening to your stories and how you guys explain it and how much it lights you up, you know. So I think that energy is going to be infectious. I think you guys are gonna you guys got a lot in store. Like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I think, you know, I can't wait to see where you go with this, and I'm excited to see some of these episodes.
Yeah, no, we appreciate y'all having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
I'm really grateful that you came on, and I will make sure when I post this on all the social, on all the you know, on the YouTube and everything, that we put your links to your YouTube and your work so that everyone can find it. And it's like I just get, there's something really big happening here, and it's just lifting up because your energy together is really, it's great, it's open, it's positive, and just like see as far as you can the most humongous goal together, because there's 3 of you and you will be able to achieve it.
No, we appreciate that, really.
Nice.
I mean, it's
thank you.
Yeah, we're like brothers.
Yeah, you know, thank you for your service. I have to say that. Thank you for your service, and appreciate
thank you for the support.
What you guys are doing for the vets. You know, it's much needed, and I think it's, you know, it's a fantastic thing.
Appreciate that. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
joining
for
us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you, David,
Thank you.
James, and Brandon, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Oh, very much so.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
had a blast.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good night.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye.
And again, anyone out there that's been listening, we've had our friends David, James, and Brandon from Cross the Line Paranormal, and you know, they're doing a phenomenal job. They bring a great energy to this, you know, and then what they're doing with the veterans, I think that's a really, really cool cutting edge thing, you know, and it's interesting because that's the one thing that comes to me around it is, you know, I think you have a different mindset going into it, you know, when you're dealing with the vets and from their training, and, you know, obviously they're they're doing it in the right way, and they're properly preparing anyone that they're bringing into these environments to make sure. I think they can handle that type of situation, but I really like what they're doing. I think those guys bring some great energy, and
So fun.
and they
They're
definitely
so
feed
fun. I
off
want
each
to
other.
watch this when I'm getting off of here. I'm going to watch their YouTube channel. I can't wait to see it. We did have quite a few comments. I'm just going to recap on that. So Eric spoke quite a bit. And then Aurora Jackson, who said, hi, guys. And then Suzanne Savage, what a great show. A fun group of investigators. So interesting. Yeah, they were saying they were talking about Skinwalker or Wendigo. And then Hannah, your friend Hannah that you work with, I almost missed the show. So glad to catch up at the end. Have a great, I have great EVPs from Penhurst before they did any remodel. And then Suzanne said, great energy. Can't wait to follow them. So this was actually very eye-opening. And I don't know, it's interesting that when you get into different paranormal groups, they have these paranormal experiences, but they're so different, and that's why they can each have their own show, because they do things differently. Like I want to see what they did with Eric as well.
Oh yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah.
And you and I, it's great feedback for us. When they said weird, I'm thinking, because people, I'm like, we're weird. I guess we're considered weird, right? Aren't we? Are we weird? Okay, so everyone out there, for next Thursday, we have William Fitzroy, and he has his own school. He's the founder of the Art of the Seer Academy for Psychic Development. So it's going to be all about that. And hopefully we'll be able to bring some people on next week. If you'd like to join us, you can get a psychic reading from William. And then the following week, February 5th, we're going to have Kelly Wagner.
Have our friend Kelly coming on. And
from Edge Magazine.
Yeah, that's my birthday celebration. So we're definitely going to be doing some readings. So if you are out there,
your B-Day.
And if you've been waiting for a private reading with me or with Mary, and we're still trying to get those schedules open and get you in, and you haven't had a chance, we'll try to jump on the podcast with us, and even though it's a mini reading, we can bring some really cool stuff through, so I would say if you have some questions or you have something you want us to try to key into, absolutely give us a shout, because February 5th we are celebrating my birthday, and I got a busy week. I have like back-to-back events, and it's going to be great because we're going to be hanging with Kelly, and it's always a blast when we have Kelly Wagner on, and she brings great energy, and she can also jump in with us and help with the readings. She's a psychic medium also, so we kind of bring all our energy together, and hopefully we can get a bunch of readings, for anyone out there that's listening and has either been waiting and hasn't been able to get on the schedule, or is just listening now and says, wow, I can get a reading from two psychics. Well, absolutely you can. So don't miss out, and make sure you put it on the schedule for either next week. Either the 29th or the 5th. And again, if you're snowed in this weekend with the great blizzard that they're talking about here, you can look. Oh my
God, I'm laughing about it, but I hope that I don't lose my power. So everyone out there, tonight was episode 79, and we had the paranormal investigators cross the line. And I want to remind you before we go that we are having a live event upcoming in Pelham Manor, New York, which is only 45 minutes from Manhattan. And we're going to be having it in a theater. It's a mediumship and a psychic event. And it's going to be April 2nd. And you will see posts on all of our social media related to that. The Two Psychics podcast Facebook page will have details, as well as my personal page and Michael Edley's.
Yeah.
And we're wishing everyone to have a happy weekend. And we're looking forward to next week. And please reach out to us if you'd like a reading, MaryAmyOfficial.com and EyeOfTheSpirits.com.
If you're not following Two Psychics Podcast on Facebook, if you're not following Mary Amy on Facebook or Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley, give our pages a like and follow, because anything we're doing here will be on all those pages. And if you want to reach out to one of us for a private reading or find an event we're doing, all the information will be there. But again, thank you everyone for tuning into Two Psychics podcast. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you so much, everyone. Be well.
Peace.
Bye.